Should parents spy on their children's internet usage? Should they check the histories?
This is probably an unpopular opinion, but I think they absolutely have the duty to I don't know that I would use the word spy, because spying implies that you're doing it in secret, but to hold your kids accountable for their internet usage is absolutely essential. So I don't recommend sneaking around, you know, going behind your kids' backs trying to catch them in the act.
Right.
That really would foster a feeling of betrayal. It would just feel really icky on the part of the kids. So that kind of thing, I think, is very, very important. To not go behind your kids' backs, to not try to trap them into something and then ground them forever and whatnot, but to really talk about the need for accountability and to approach this as a coach, as somebody really helping to guide and lead your kids toward virtue and happiness and purity.
Well, let's talk about this then, accountability. Parents have access to computers. They can at least look at the history.
The history,
okay.
Yep.
How do they do that, and what are the limits to that?
Well, it's fairly simple, and it depends on the browser, but in one of the menu options, there are not very many in internet browsers anymore, you can click on history, and that'll bring up a list of all of the websites that anybody's visited, sorted by day and time.
Mm-hmm.
However, the web browsers now all have an option to go private. In private browsing on Internet Explorer, private browsing on Firefox, incognito mode on Google Chrome. What these things do...
This is a way of avoiding public exposure.
Yes, it doesn't track any of your web searches. It doesn't track the sites that you're visiting. It doesn't save cookies on your computer. So these are things where you can go untracked online if you don't have accountability software installed. Mm-hmm. So what I tell the parents is to regularly look at internet history, if you don't have accountability software especially. But regularly look at internet history, and if you know your son or daughter was online for a couple hours doing something, go and look, especially for holes. Your kids are smart for the most part. Some of them are not so smart, and they'll do things with leaving a trail.
Yeah.
But most of them will be smart enough to know to go into one of those modes where their internet history isn't tracked. And if you know they were online for a couple hours and you see Google as the first website and then they didn't do anything for, there's this big hole in the middle of the time they were online, you can very easily deduce that they went into a private browsing mode so that you couldn't track what they did.
Okay.
And if you notice that, that's a great occasion to start a conversation with your kids to say, so I noticed this. What were you up to? Let's talk about why you shouldn't do that and begin the conversation that way.
Okay. So that's one way that even before you install anything, there's one way you can begin to get an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, and that's the case for browsers on mobile devices too. On your iPhone, on your Android phones, on tablets, they all have those private browsing modes as well, and they all have the capability to view the history.